Hello, can anyone hear me? It's good, okay. So I hope you enjoyed the break. I consider this a bit of a break as well, a break from the really clever stuff, because there's been some fantastic talks. There's fantastic talks coming after me, but this is a bit of a dip, I'll be honest. First of all, I have no slides, so if anyone wants to take any photos, all you're going to get is an old Asian guy, bald, on a red mat. Yeah, sorry about that. And secondly, I'm going to tell you stuff that you kind of already know. So anyone wants to leave now, you can, but maybe in a different way. So me, so I'm not clever enough to invent anything, do any big disruptive thing that's new. I kind of flip between stuff, so the subjects I took at school, what I did at university, I had no real plan to it, still doesn't. I fell into jobs, fell into careers, fell into industries, and I fell into management consulting. That industry where big corporations call you to solve what they perceive, and that's an important word, the most pressing problems. Strategic, technical, operational, people, structural, all of those things. So I flitted with that for a while, and I'm not even clever enough to specialize. So I ended up collecting sectors: financial services, insurance, banking, wealth, national intelligence, always an interesting one, manufacturing, engineering, local government, central government, all sorts of things. But the thing with me is, in consulting, I had a healthy dislike for authority and being told what to do. Some would say unhealthy. I also had a dislike of jargon, of waffle, of producing really nice reports that actually didn't tell you anything. And then saying, well, why don't I just do this on my own? So I did. And I started falling into sectors and falling into things like I always do. And I started noticing patterns and changing things and thinking, right, if I change this, we could do this with this. And then people started coming up to me and going, you've really disrupted us. And I thought, well, I haven't really. I said, no, it's been disruptive. We've got all these different results. I thought, well, I haven't done anything kind of new. Because this word disruption just kept coming up again and again and again. In people that I spoke to, in colleagues I worked with. More than one occasion, I've had someone come up to me by the side of me and say, Surj, can I disrupt you a minute? I said, no, you're only interrupting me. You're not really disrupting me. No, but I'm going to disrupt the way you think. No, I'll carry on thinking. I may have a new thought. That's fine. More than once, I've been introduced to people, when I ask them what they do, they say, I'm a chaos monkey, or I'm a chaos junkie. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, I go in and try and disrupt things in our company. I do things differently. Okay. I thought that was a fad until it hit me. Chief Disruption Officer. That's a role. I thought, no, it can't be, till I did some research. 2,500 largest companies in the world, 20% of them have filled the role of Chief Disruption Officer. Innovation isn't enough anymore. Change isn't enough anymore. We need disruption. And you need to be the CDO. I thought, maybe it's just work, but no. Even on a social basis, I'm sat with a bunch of people talking about stuff after work. It was around the time when we were having quite a few security threats, and the government were holding COBRA meetings. And we talked about COBRA meetings. Having been one of the sectors I'd collected and worked in, I kind of said, well, you know what COBRA stands for, don't you? Some did, some didn't. They said, no. Well, it sounds really sinister and like, oh, there's a threat, let's have a COBRA meeting. It actually stands for Cabinet Office Briefing Room A. The place where they hold COBRA meetings is called Cabinet Office Briefing Room A. Nothing sinister, nothing big. So the reason I tell you this is some people that I was talking to knew, some people didn't. Of one of the ones that didn't, they suddenly piped up and said, wow, Surj, you've just dropped a knowledge bomb. I thought, wow. Have I blown up some mythical intellectual landscape here? All I did was explain an acronym. But you see, people, the language, it's all got to be new, disruptive, explosive, even knowledge bombs, when I'm just explaining a little fact and an acronym. And it kind of got me wondering. I thought, well, where does it kind of end? So you go to Google and you type in disrupting the ordinary. Depending on how the algorithm is working at that one time, you'll get anything between 4.5 to 5.5 million results. That's a lot of disrupting the ordinary. It's a lot of people doing disruption. And you think, well, who's doing all this? So you look and you find that there's 660,000 new businesses being registered every year in the UK. 70 an hour. Take every man, woman, child in Glasgow and ask them to start a business every year. That's what we're looking at. And a lot of these businesses will have disruptive ideas which will absolutely make things better for the world, for people, for users. And a lot of them will fail. And they'll fail because they don't do the boring stuff well. You may have a really good idea, but you need cash flow. You need to communicate. You need to plan. You need to look at how you're performing. You need to look at performance management. You need to look at all those things. You have to present. You have to communicate. You have to do things that actually don't seem very exciting. In fact, you also have to learn to negotiate. And one of the most disruptive skills, I guess, in any sort of negotiation is silence. One of the greatest tools that you can use. Now, I know what you're thinking. Thinking, has he forgotten he has no slides? There's nothing to look at. Has he frozen? What's going on? But no, actually, saying something and just being quiet is a really good thing. People forget that, especially in today's connected world, which is great to be connected, but everyone needs to fill a silence. I mean, you can think back now to that silence there, which was probably maybe 12, 13 seconds, maybe felt like a few minutes. The feelings in yourself thinking, oh my God, what's going on? Is he asking a question? Do I have to answer something? Those are exactly the that's exactly the feelings that people feel when they're faced with silence. On more than one occasion, I've had someone come into my office and say, Surj, we've got this really big problem. Thing is, if we go down this route, it's going to really affect this whole business unit. And I say, And then they say, but if we took that part of the business unit and incorporated it into this plan, we could probably get away with it. And you go, And they say, yeah, I'll go do that. Surj, thanks a lot. You've been a great help. Anytime anyone wants me to help them by saying absolutely nothing and they talk themselves into a solution, I'm the guy. Honestly, I'm the guy. Because that is silence, and that's not a new thing, but it does disrupt. It's just one of the simple tools I think people forget. So back to me, as I said, I'm not clever enough to invent anything, although I think I was clever enough to know that I wasn't clever enough, if you get what I mean. And then I thought, well, the stuff I'm doing and the stuff I've done over companies and sectors, and they've all said, oh, we've got disruptive results, and I don't think that way. What does that mean? What do I do then? Am I really inventing something or not? I looked around, and way back in 1883, there was a guy called George Pentecost. George Pentecost was a religious writer, and he wrote an essay. And the essay was about a sculptor he met when he was a boy. And the sculptor had a large block of marble. And as a boy, he said to him, what are you going to make out of that? And the sculptor said, I'm not going to make anything. He said, what are you going to turn it into? So I'm going to turn it into an angel. He said, well, how are you going to turn it into an angel if you're not going to make anything? He said, I'm going to find the angel. So, well, how do you do that? Because it's easy. I just chip away everything that's not the angel. And it dawned on me that's kind of what we do, or kind of what my company does. We look at stuff that's already there, we chip away at stuff, and something gets created. And people think you've invented something new, when you haven't. We started going into companies saying, we've got massive strategic problems, what do we do? And we go, right, turn off all your business reporting. I said, what, all of it? Yeah, all of it. Turn it all off. Gone. They turned it all off. A week later, people started going mad. I can't get my data, what's going on? Oh my God. So we looked at the important ones, we turned that back on. Overall, we turned about 15% of the reports back on. 85% of them stayed off. Suddenly, they started looking at a narrow focus of data. They started looking at what does that mean? Oh, our products aren't good enough. Oh, there's other markets we haven't looked at. Our geographical spread, maybe we need to open offices in other areas of the world. They did all these things, the results were through the roof, and they come back and say, wow, you've really disrupted us. And I say, well, actually, we just turned off your business reporting. We went in and started halving timescales. Oh, you're going to deliver that by next October. How about if you delivered it by April? Oh, we can't do that. What could you deliver by April? Well, we can have a look at it. Yeah, that'd be good. How about we cut all your meeting times in half? How about we just note a couple of actions, who's going to do them, and lo and behold, you follow up with the people if they've done them or not. Transformational, I know. But many people don't get this. And you think, well, why don't they get it? Why wouldn't you do that? Why, is this disruption? Is it not? I know we've had a couple of hand raises here, but I'm not going to do it as a survey. If you could just all put one hand up as high as it would go. Just one hand. Put it all up for me, please. That's including the people in the posh seats. That'd be good. Okay. On the count of three, keep them up, keep them up, keep them up. Okay. On the count of three, when I say three, give me a few more inches height on that, okay? 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, thank you, thank you. So everyone who raised their hands on the count of three, why? Why would you do that? Did you not hear me? I said, put one hand up as high as it will go. I then said, put it up higher. If you put it up higher, you did not put it up as high as it would go. Now, there's a couple of reasons why you would have done that. One would have been, I'm not playing this silly game. Who do you think he is? Valid. The second would be, you didn't listen. Or the third, which is probably more likely, is you could have, but you didn't. You chose not to. Even subconsciously, you chose not to. And that's what happens in people, in organizations, in companies. They're not stretching as high as they could go, they think they are. And when you find that stretch between where they are and the higher they go, that suddenly gets termed disruption. No, we don't have to build a new arm. We actually just need your own arm to stretch a bit higher. And people start getting disruptive results, and they say they're disruptive. And you think, well, it's not really disruptive. What do you mean? And we've done this time and time and time again. We've used silence. We've cut meeting times in half. We've looked at how people could do more with less. They're all glib phrases, but actually doing it is what counts. And then people come to us and they go, you really have disrupted us. And I say, we haven't really done anything disruptive at all. Or have we? Thank you very much.